So you've watched my video on how to do the law of sines, and hopefully you've attempted these 6 problems. I've given you the answer to all 6. I'm only going to go over the work and explanation for 1, 3, and 5 because I'd like you to submit your work for 2, 4, and 6. So you can use my work here as a model of what I would like to see when you submit it. You, of course, don't have to make a video, just a picture is fine. So for law of sines, remember it's just proportions, okay? Another thing to keep in mind is that in a triangle, there's always 180 degrees. So in some of these problems, they give you 2 angles, and you have to find the third one because you need that third one to use. Well, sorry, in the law of sines. All right, so this first problem, the diagram's a little wonky, which I apologize for, but the 23 degrees does go to angle B. And that means the angle C is 145 degrees. So with law of sines, you're using angles and sides that are across the triangle from each other. So I put a sine of 145 over 22, right, these guys, equals the sine of 23 over AC is what we're solving for. You can label that as x if you'd like. So 23 over x. So I just set up my proportion. You cross multiply and solve. Now, when I cross multiplied, so I got the sine of 23 times 22, and that equaled the sine of 145 times AC. You divide both sides by sine of 145. Your final answer is 15. So I just leave it, like instead of writing this as a decimal, I just leave it like this because I put this whole thing in my calculator at the very end. And that's how you get the most exact answer. So if you are doing your work and you just write down, let's see, the sine of 23 times 22. So this would be, what should I write here? 8.6, we'll say, when I round up. So if you're writing it as 8.6 equals, the sine of 145 is 0.57. And then you divide, so if I do 8.6 divided by 0.57, so that gives me 15.1. So your answer won't be off by much. It's not a big deal if you know you're doing the work as you go, and then your answer's a little off for mine. But it shouldn't be off by more than like a tenth or something. So if you end up with like 17, then you probably did something wrong. Okay? But there's number 1. So let's scroll down. Here we go. For number 3. Solving for another side here. So I want AC. I marked that as x. So 95 degrees is across from that. So sine of 95 over x equals sine of 51 over 32. Now I filled in this angle here. Didn't really need it. It was just habit. I don't have this side here, AB, so I can't use that in my proportion. But when you cross multiply and solve, you get AC equals 41. Okay, so number 5. Now on the last 3, the second half, you're solving for an angle. Your work is all the same. Just remember when you're solving for an angle, your very last step, you have to use the inverse sign here. So we're solving for angle A. So we have this pair. So sine of 73 over 23 equals sine of A, that was ugly, over 9. So I'm going to cross multiply. I end up with sine of A equals 0.37. That's not your answer, okay? Go to my calculator. Sorry if this is like huge. I'm just putting in second sine, 0.37. My angle measure is 21.7. Okay, I just noticed a lot of you last week were not getting this step, so don't miss it. And one last reminder for these problems, you do have to be in degree mode. Another thing that a lot of you missed last week, if you're in radian mode, your answers will be completely different from mine. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.